Yes. Don't be that way. Sonia and her glasses.
Yeah. I like that picture. That's not her.
It's just her face. So ready when you guys are ready. How are you guys doing this morning? Good? Good. Is it cold? Is it warm? I mean, what's happening with the
warm
weather? Yeah, it is warm in here for sure.
It's just right.
What is the temperature? 72? Yeah, we have to lower it. I went to someone's presentation and they said they will not speak. He's a motivational speaker in a room that's cooler than 65 degrees because people fall asleep.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
64 it is. So I kind of think that's true because you get comfortable, you get cozy, you start daydreaming, and what's the point? You drifted here for what? So you guys ready or not yet? Yeah?
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. So I'm really, really excited about this Invaluable Laws of Growth. I was telling Jennifer we had the absolute, privilege of doing this and presenting in front of you guys. It's definitely something that pushes us to even be better for you guys as a group and as a whole. And the chapters that I chose, I didn't realize how much they spoke to me. And when you realize those things, you're like, wow, where was this information 20 years ago? So it's I'm really excited about it. Like I said, you have to take it in your own way because we all run different businesses, have different lifestyles and just different things. So it's important to know, like when you're listening to, or whether you're reading or listening to the Audible or whatever you're doing. So just so you guys know, what I did was I actually read the book, I listened to the Audible, and I also went on YouTube and listened to it there. It was presented in different ways. I took different things from it. And because of that, I feel like it just spoke in volumes in different ways. Like if you didn't hear it here, you heard it here. So it's always good to refresh yourself. And that's just a reminder as well. A lot of times we get caught up with, I don't need to go to that class, or I don't need that because I know that already. But knowledge is power, and you definitely always want to be growing, whichever way, even if it's this much, because a lot of times we measure growth as, if I'm not going to go from here to here, I'm not going to do those things. But what you have to understand is it's the little things that add up to the big things. And we have to learn that, because I think in our minds growing up and the way it is, it's like, get straight A's. And let's say you don't do well in school. It's like, I'll never do that. So I'm just going to stick to this, and you give up on yourself. So just as an example. So same thing here as an entrepreneur. No one taught us, or no one, unless you grew up with it. I didn't. It's like, jump in and figure it out. You're on your own. So definitely, this has been, I could say, probably one of the best books that I've read so far for myself. So let's get started. So the first thing that came to me was, growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow will be better. So that's how he starts off his book. And wow, does that hit, because it's like, it's so true. If you're going to be living the same day over and over and over. And he kind of compared it to, I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie, but it's that 50 First Dates, how she lived the same day over and over and over, because of, her accident. So he's like, just imagine that's how someone who doesn't want to grow is living without realizing it. And it's so true, because we're just doing the same things over and over, hoping for something different. So the law of intentionality, that's the first chapter that I did. And it says, secret of any success is personal growth of yourself. Growth is not automatic. Unless you're eating, you grow, but that's the only thing that's automatic. Growth is on purpose. So you have to be intentional. And I don't think we realize that, how we have to be intentional about what it is that we do. We're kind of like on autopilot, So, do you have a growth mindset or do you have a fixed mindset? That's going to determine how successful you are. So how you answer these two questions will determine how successful you are going to be. And like I said, when I read this, I was like, wow, it's kind of hits home. So number one, what are you doing to develop yourself? If you can't come up with something positive, if you don't have an answer for that, that is something you need to work on immediately. What are you doing to develop yourself? And then number two, what are you doing to develop others? And again, even though you're not a leader in a company or anything like that, you're the leader of your company, of your clients. You're leading them to something else. So you're leading your families, your children, whoever it is that looks up to you. Those are other places in your life that you're leading. So it's just not necessarily, oh, well, I don't train others, so that doesn't apply to me. It really does. So you have to start with you. You cannot give what you do not have. Leading others and having nothing to give, share, or teach them, then you can never be what you want to be as a leader. Growth will place you where you are. You cannot develop yourself or your people unless you are intentional. So do you have a plan for personal growth in your life? So ask yourself that question. Do you have one? Did you ever think it was necessary? Is it something you ever worked on? We have business plans that we're trying to do our business, but do we focus on ourselves? Do we have anything with ourselves? And what they found is majority of people have never even thought about that, having a personal growth for themselves. And why? Because he calls it growth gap traps. So what that means is, more than anything I can say is they're excuses. These are the excuses that stop you from growing. So the first one is the assumption gap. I assume I will grow automatically. I just think it's going to happen, right? 2, knowledge gap. I don't know how to grow, so you blame it on not knowing. 3, the timing gap. It's not the right time to begin. I'm not ready. I'm not this. I don't have this. I don't have that. 4, the mistake gap. I'm afraid of making mistakes. And we know that there's people that don't want to fail. They think if I'm going to fail if I try, but that's a part of winning and growing as well. 5, the perfection gap. I have to find the best way before I start. 6, the inspiration gap. I don't feel like doing it. 7, the comparison gap. Others are doing it better than I am, so why, I don't want to do it. 8, the expectation gap. I thought it would be easier than this. So these are some of the gaps that stop you from growing because these are stories that you tell yourself. So really look at it and see which one is it that is holding you back and try to work on that. The next thing is accidental growth versus intentional growth. So accidental growth is, they plan to start tomorrow. You know how that is. We'll start our diet Monday, right? We were going to start the 75 hard. Oh, we'll start it this day because we have this and this coming up, So we do those things. We wait for growth to come to us. We learn only from our mistakes. We depend on good luck. We quit early and often. Falls into bad habits. Talks a big game. Plays it safe. Thinks like a victim. Relies on talent. And stops learning after graduation. So there's no more thoughts and learning. Intentional growth. Insist on starting today. Takes complete responsibility to grow. Often learns before mistakes. Relies on hard work. Perseveres long and hard. Fights for good habits. Follows through. Takes risks. Thinks like a learner. Relies on character. And never stops growing. So as you can tell, there is a big difference. And maybe you're combined with both, but maybe try to get more on the intentional side of growth. So making the transition today to change from accidental to intentional growth, is definitely a great goal. So applying the law of intentionality to your life. So how can you get started? Like, what could you do? It's small things and it's daily habits. So the first thing is make a commitment to intentionally grow. Commit to yourself. I want to intentionally grow. Number 2, make the commitment public, meaning share it with someone. put it out loud, because a commitment that isn't done out loud is worthless. Shared commitment becomes a strong commitment, because now you have people to hold, hey, aren't you still doing the 75 hard? What? What are you talking about? So it's always important to put it out loud. That way, you know what, they're gonna call you on it, and you're gonna know how you feel, like, okay, I gotta stick to what I say. 3, identify the areas you want to grow personally in, at least 2 areas. So, and you don't want to do more than 5 because it's too many, but start off with 2, and start off with 1, which is an area of choice that you feel. An example would be your attitude is a choice. How you act and how you present yourself is a choice. So maybe you need to grow in that area. So focus on that. And then an area of skill. It could be negotiating, prospecting, anything that you do in your business, in your life, that is a skill that you want to perfect and grow in. And then invest 1 hour a day in those 2 areas. Now, I know a lot of times people say, well, I don't have the time for it. Make the time. It's important for you, if you want to grow. And 7 days a week, including Sundays, you definitely want to invest that 1 hour, whether it's to get up earlier, go to sleep later, take a shorter lunch, whatever it is that you're doing. And you need to, spend it on preparation, practice, and reflection over and over and over in those areas. And number 5, invest 1 hour a week on reflection and writing what you're learning. And it's really states to start jotting, not journaling, because it wants you just to write 4 or 5 words a day of what you're learning and what you want to change and stuff like that. So you don't have to start writing, pages and pages. It wants you to focus on the words that are most vibrant to you. And number 6, share your growth with someone. If they are happy, share it with them again the next week. If they aren't, start moving and find new friends. He did, really stress, as you grow, just like a tree, you lose leaves, and it's not a bad thing. So a lot of times people look at it as it's a bad thing, but it's actually, those people aren't your people. And if they're not happy for you, then obviously you're with the wrong crowd. So you need to be with people who are cheering you, who are excited for you. Otherwise, there's no point in them being around you. So change your mindset. You have to know who you are to grow to your potential, but you have to grow in order to know who you are. So that's a pretty interesting, statement, because a lot of times you're like, okay, well, who am I? What am I? What can I do? And I think fear, a lot of times, success scares people because they don't know what it looks like. So it's just kind of like the unknown. You have to be, comfortable with being uncomfortable in order for you, to grow. So that was the law of, what was it again? Intentionality. So be intentional. So my next chapter was the law of consistency. And for any of you guys that have worked with me, I swear by consistency in everything. And I already know when I fail or when something doesn't go right, it was my lack of consistency. There's nothing that compares to it. And I like to believe that I am a positive person. I get up every day with an intention of, having a great day, of doing the best that I can. And I used to believe that people would tell me, gosh, you're always so motivated, but I never really knew if that was the right word. Like, is that really what I am? So, because it says, motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. So I would like to say, okay, yes, I'm motivated to get up, but I want to be disciplined to keep growing for sure. And there was a quote in the book. It says, you've got to get up every morning with determination if you're going to go to bed with satisfaction. And I truly believe that. I think as entrepreneurs, we tend to sway from our schedules, and we don't discipline ourselves to stick to our schedule. And then we wonder why our business, is fluctuating. We're not, things aren't happening the way they want them. We start working when we feel the pressure, like, okay, we got to get out there now because there's nothing else there. So now I got to go do this. But just imagine if you disciplined yourself just to do just a little bit every day, how that would change in your business. So again, the law of consistency. I love to compare everything to diet. We already know, you can go to the gym every day, but if you're not eating well and you're not consistent, it doesn't go hand in hand. And it's the same thing. So you just definitely have to be consistent in everything. And I think now in our age, we're getting up there. So I think we're learning more of what is truly important in our lives. Our health is probably primarily everything, because without that, we wouldn't be able to get up and do the things that we take for granted today. Okay. How to grow in consistency. So like I was mentioning, I believe that motivating people was the key to make them succeed. So my goal was always to inspire people so they would be ready to take on the world. That was me. I was excited when an agent would call and say, hey, I want to work, or even a client, I was excited. And I believed my energy was going to just go on to theirs and they were going to take it and run with it and just do all the great things, right? Wrong, because it only lasts for so long. So obviously I'm not there to continue to do that. They have to do for themselves. So it doesn't matter how talented you are or how many opportunities you receive. If you want to grow consistently, or if you want to grow, consistency is what is key. You have to continue to do those things. And I think, and I know how I felt, like I said, when I do certain things and you start seeing it. And sometimes it takes longer than others, right? You start, let's just say you start on a diet plan. I don't know. It takes, if you don't see results right away, you're like, this is not working. But you give up before there is results being made. You just don't see them how you want to or how we expect to. So we give up on ourselves instead of continuing to go and pushing through. And that goes, like I said, for all aspects in your business and whatever it is that you're doing. So your future is dependent on your personal growth. Improving yourself daily guarantees you a future full of possibilities. So 1, do you know what you need to improve? So these are questions, you have to ask yourself, do you know? And like I said, you could go in deeper if you have the book, I recommend you get the book or the Audible, but really, really ask yourself, do you know what you need to improve? And 2, do you know how you are supposed to improve? 3, do you know why you want to keep improving? What's your motivation behind that? And do you know when you are supposed to improve? When are you supposed to make those changes? So like I said, everyone's different, but those are questions to definitely ask yourself if it's something that you want to improve. Goal consciousness and growth consciousness. So goal consciousness is when you have goals, and then growth obviously is when you want to grow. So goal focuses on a destination, motivates you and others, seasonal, challenges you, and stops when the goal is reached. Where growth consciousness it focuses on the journey, matures you and others, lifelong, changes you, and keeps you growing beyond the goal. And like I said, I know it's not something where tomorrow you're like, okay, I'm growth conscious, I'm just going to jump into it. We all know it doesn't work it's not that simple. So always start with simple stuff. Small disciplines repeated with consistency every day lead to great achievements gained slowly over time. So small things, small habits, and be patient. All things are difficult before they're easy. And that's a lot of things that we have to be patient in our business. Again, just going on to your business, let's say you want to change your business strategy, but you don't see the success right away. Again, everything takes time. And value the process, value and enjoy it. It's going to take time, so you might as well enjoy your journey with whatever it is that you change. Definitely, enjoy that. There was another quote by E.M. Gray. It says, the successful person has the habit of doing the things that failures don't like to do. The successful person doesn't like doing them either, but his dislike is subordinated to the strength of his purpose. The more tuned in you are to your purpose and the more dedicated you are to growing toward it, the better your chances of reaching your potential, expanding your possibilities, and doing something significant. So what that says is that nobody likes doing the hard work. Nobody. You know, we all want to do what's easy, but again, it's a change in what has to be done, being consistent, being disciplined, knowing that it's part of it. And that's why, like, I was talking to Lady yesterday about our schedules, and it's like you're supposed to have stuff that's non-negotiable. Your time, you know, your prospecting time, because that's going to be where you're either doing better for yourself or you're going to be making your money. So always focus on that. The other good thing that I liked about it was they talked about matching your motivation to the personality type. So a lot of you have taken personality tests. If you haven't, Tony Robbins, Jennifer's husband, is
Nice to meet you, though.
if you go to his website, he has a free personality test. So if you're not sure, like, really who you are, it breaks it down for you. If you're in denial, right? So you take that personality test, and it's going to tell you, like, you know, if you are, you know, a driver, if you're shy, if, you know, whatever it is, you know, it's something that a lot of employers give to their employees before they hire them, because they want to see what their personality type is. So I thought it was pretty interesting, because that can, it says not everyone gets motivated the same way or is motivated by the same things. This is nice because obviously all of our clients are different. So getting to know who you're working with, you might go into a listing presentation and someone's completely analytical. They don't care about anything else but show me the numbers, you know, and then you get other people that don't care about the numbers. They just want you to love on them. You know, that's what they want. So it's important to know who you're dealing with, because you need to know how to show up, you know, so that way there's a connection there. So I really think if you haven't done that, you can do that, but you can't make it part of your buyer presentation or listing presentation to have them do it, to know who you're working with. You'll start learning, right? And I know Jennifer's really good at that. And that's something that actually we learned that, you know, I learned that years ago. But it has been a game changer by really knowing who you're dealing with. So there's different types of personalities, and that's definitely important to know. So in order for the law of consistency, it says once you learn to quit, it becomes a habit. And that was said by Vince Lombardi. And how true is that? Once you see how easy it is to quit, it's like, oh, I can start over again. But it's harder every time you start over. And you know, I'm sure we all know that. And it just gets tougher and tougher. So in order to applying the law of consistency to your life, number one, align your methods of motivation with your personality type. So use whatever personality profile you prefer, like I mentioned, the DISC personality, just so that way you know what makes your personality type tick. Then develop a daily growth system that is simple and plays to your strengths. Number two, it's difficult to remain engaged if anything you have not found a way to value and appreciate the process. Make a list of everything you like about personal growth. If your list is very short, really work at it. Anything you can find as motivation will help you develop better growth habits. And number three, the more whys you have for pursuing personal growth on a daily basis, the more likely you will be to follow through. Start piling those whys. Think of immediate benefits as well as long-term ones. Consider reasons related to purpose, vision, and dreams. Think of how it will help you relationally, and vocationally, and spiritually. Any reason to grow is a good reason as long as it's your reason. So everybody's reason is different. And it's so funny because I think about when we were younger, how our parents would be like, if you eat all your vegetables or whatever, you can have dessert. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, that was why I ate that, you know? So it's kind of the same thing every day. Why do I have to work out, or why do I have to make these calls, or why do I have to do these things? Why? You know, what is your why behind all of that? So that is my presentation. Do anybody have any questions or anything? Who wants to be consistent with me? That's what I want to know.
Yay.
And everything, honestly, and our eating habits and everything. You know, the good old thing about Facebook is it reminds you of stuff that maybe you don't want to be reminded about, and stuff that you do, but and I know some of you guys know, I was at a place one time where I, was at my prime goal weight. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. It keeps getting longer and longer. And it's really hard to get there. It's not the same. It really is. And I wish I would have never stopped. But COVID had a little bit to do with it because I couldn't go obviously to the gym or whatever. So, but I could have done other things. But it's, that is like one of my biggest regrets, is not being consistent with that, because I saw what consistency did, and I know it, and I believe in it. And the same thing with our business. It's, this way I feel like I can't see you guys. So I can't stress enough. And it's even in relationships. It's like, if you're not consistent in your relationship, every day's a new day. The rent is due every day. What you did yesterday is gone. It doesn't even count. So just think of it like I ate good yesterday. Okay, good for you. But today you got to do the same thing, and the same thing with your business. I had a good week last week. I made all these connections. Okay, well, keep on. So it's the same thing, just being consistent. And you know what? We only have one life to live, you guys. So why not be the best you can be? Honestly, we don't know when our time's up. So you just want to know that, hey, I lived how I wanted to, and I was, grateful, and I don't have any regrets. So.
Thank you.
Yes.
What would you say you do consistently that you learn here that you apply as a realtor? That you would say, this is the one thing for sure I do consistently every day.
So that I do now, or that I will do?
Both. That's
Okay.
That's a good one.
Okay. So that I will do now, I would say I work in my business every day, like in my database every day. So I would say that's something I do. Do I do the same things all over and over? No. What I would like to change is being a little bit more intentional, just because of that. And I had a meeting with the girls yesterday during our mastermind, talking about being more intentional, being more strategic on how we're doing our business, opposed to shooting darts all over the place, kind of aiming for where we believe the goal is. So I think for me, definitely, it's either a yes or a no. It's black or white, right? So I went to this coaching thing, and the guy says, who gets to the office before 10 o'clock? And then everybody has their hands up, well, not everybody, because not everybody goes to the office, but most of the people. Who gets there before 9? It's like half the people. Who gets there before 8? It's like 2 people. And there's times I get to the office, as early as 5 a.m. There's times I get to the office 7, 8, 9, but never really later than 9. But that's kind of what my schedule is. So he's like, does anyone get there earlier? And I said, well, I do sometimes. He says, no, then you don't, because it's not a habit. A habit is something you always do, something that you can always say you do. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. So what's my habit time? Like, what time do I want to be there no matter what? So, obviously, a lot of times, we work from home because we feel that we can. And, but I can't. Even if I didn't, run the office or whatever, I would still have an office, because I can't work from home. I know Sonia. And Sonia will be like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. I try to spread myself so thin. And so it would just be impossible. So I think you just have to, like I said, get to know yourself, and make those changes that are going to help you grow. And being around positive, and being around people that you see growing, that are consistently moving, it rubs off. Just like bad rubs off, good rubs off. So you have to decide, where you want to put your time.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said about other people's personalities, who you're dealing with. It's great. That's one thing that I learned, like, in my 18 years of doing this, 19 going on 19. It's every client is like, okay, this was a little cuckoo, this was that, this was this was that. Like, it's just, you just gotta run with it and deal with it, and you know what I mean?
The key thing is not to take anything personal.
Yeah.
It's not about you. Okay, you can't take, believe me, we're human. We want to react. If someone gets crazy with you, you want to get crazy back. It's just a reaction. But as a professional, this is a business we chose. We're here to help and serve. So some people aren't that nice. And if I don't know how much time I have, but I can share a story with you. Some of you may have heard this before, some of you may have not. But I'm gonna give you an example. So I went on a listing appointment, and it was a referral. The wife opens the door. She's in lingerie. Okay. Her husband's sitting at the table. She's making him breakfast. So how I'm sitting is I'm sitting like this. He's facing me this way. The kitchen's that way. The stove's that way. So her back's to me. I'm going over everything with him. And she comes and she says, oh, so how much do you charge? I guess she's used to getting asked that question or asking that question. So she said, you know, how much do you charge? And I said, yeah. I said, I charge 6%. And she's like, you're not going to pay her 6%. The other guy that was here was only going to charge 5%. You're not. He goes, let me handle this. She's like, well, what the fuck? Sorry, excuse my French, but she told me like that. What the F are you going to do for 6%? I'm like, girl, let me get up here real quick. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just told her, well, first of all, you know, of course, someone attacks you like that, you're just like, you're on edge, right? So I took a breath and I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not going to allow you to speak to me that way. And so then she like expected me probably to go off on her and everything else. So when I said that, he basically put her in her place. I didn't have to. He did. She went about her way. He signed the contract. I ended up selling that house. And let me tell you, it was not a good transaction. So, but anyhow, it's all in how you respond. And things could have ended up bad, you know, if that's, you know, if I couldn't control myself. So I think I've learned it doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean that you can't defend yourself. It means you're class. You have class and you know how to control yourself and walk away from it. And you know what? It's not about you. Her issue was not about me. It was about her. So I think the faster you learn how to deal with that, and that goes, like I said, that goes into all your relationships, because that carries over into, you know, your home, your kids, how we have patience, how we don't have patience. And it's so funny because all my clients tell me, oh, you have so much patience. That's why we love working with you. You're so patient. But it's funny because I guess that it ends at 5 p.m. because when I get home, I have zero patience. It's like, I'm like Cinderella.
So you leave the patient in the door of you.
Yeah.
Outside the door.
Yeah, I'm like, no more patience. I'm leaving that hat here.
Another word.
But you know
the
what?
patient.
It's funny because those of you that know, like my son who was in an accident, I have to have patience with him every day. Like you don't even have a clue. I have to drop him. He starts work at 5 a.m. I'm up at 4 to drive him to work. And the whole way I'm like having my patience because I don't know what his state is. Every day is different. So it's like, okay, you know, anybody has ever dealt with someone with a brain injury, it just changes. So it's like, okay, so that's a big, what's the word I'm looking for? Challenge for me every day. So, but again, I have to be better because I know better, you know, so.
But you have a big commitment, so.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's make it you.
Yeah. So, like I said, everything happens for a reason, and you know, hopefully, maybe I need to be patient in other places, or you know, more than just at 5 p.m. ending. You know, it's like, no, you're not. You got to be patient forever. So, it's all good. Jennifer, did you want to go there? Yeah.
Just for a second.
Or does anyone else have anything else they want to share, say, or anything else? Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We look forward to the following 9 weeks, and I know that, was it the 31st that there's no day that we're skipping? Or we're dark, as they say?
The 31st, I think, right? The 31st?
That's fine.
Yeah, I think it's the last, we have an event on that day.
Yeah, so that's the only day, but
Yeah.
it's every Wednesday up until we go to R4.
Yes, is everybody ready for R4? Did you guys register? Everybody register?
Yes, totally.
Good. I'm gonna be really quick, you guys. I'm gonna be quick. First off, what an amazing presentation, Sonia. Thank you. What a great way to kick off this series. And look around you guys, look at all of the faces here. What I want to tell you is congratulations for being here, because I said this the last time that we did this series. It's labeled emotional intelligence. And this is about growth. But had we labeled this series, get 10 listings in 30 days, out of the few hundred people that we have in this organization, if we would say guaranteed 10 listings, like, people would be here. The place would be packed, it'd be full, and there'd be 0 seats with a standing room. However, the ironic part about it is that all of this, emotional intelligence and growth, personal development, it's the way to run your business. It's the way to grow your business, and it's the way that we will actually get those listings and do well in business. It's the key. And too many people are focusing on the exterior. And we can only do as much and grow our business as much as we have grown ourselves. So congratulations to all of you that are here. I hope that you guys join the entire series and you come each week to see what gifts unfold. And like I said, Sonia, amazing job, amazing job. I love this. Her and I were talking this morning, early morning, somewhat about this, like the working out, the consistency. And that's the thing about business, is like, we do the things that we love to do. That's what we tend to go toward. Oh, business is easy for me. So the consistency part, every day of the last 20 years, I'm up at 5:30. I am working like for 2-3 hours, before even 8, like, it's easy for me. The hard part for me is the working out. And so my head had to be like up against this wall. It's inspiration or desperation for me to now say, well, my ankle's no good, it's shot. And so now I do have to lose weight and take my health, very, very seriously, make it a priority. So those are the things I love when you were talking about that make a difference in our lives, doing the things that are challenging for us to do in business, but are going to make an impact, like cold calling, prospecting, working your sphere, making sure that you're touching base. So I'm grateful to be a part of this. I want to thank all of the people that are going to present in advance. This is going to be amazing for all of us to get together, and to do. The reason I wanted to come up here is we are going to have a business development person joining our mortgage company. So Champions Mortgage will have Lala, some of you know her as Oralia, Lala Delgado, will be business development in Champions Mortgage from here moving forward. I'm super excited about it. Maybe stand up and say a couple of things about yourself, and you guys all know me. I'm grateful for the help and that you said yes, and that you're going to be a part of this. So
thank you, Jennifer. So I think most of you guys know me here, but those of you that don't know me, my name is Aurelia Delgado. I go by Lala. I love Lala. So actually we wanted to make this announcement today because we're talking about growth. And as you know, Champions Mortgage, I think we started about 2-3 years ago. And we're ready to grow it. We're ready to grow it here alongside with the loan officers that are already part of Champions Mortgage. And for those of you who don't know my background, I have been in lending management, retail and wholesale for Countrywide, Beneficial, Norwest. I can name all the finance companies. Sylvia used to work with me in the past. Also in the underwriting management, I also was part of that. And then now real estate. So Jennifer had asked me to come on board and grow the business development in Champions Mortgage. And I thought about it. And I said, that's part of growing myself as well. So I said yes. So you're gonna see me calling you, maybe working a lot with the loan officers. So if you guys don't know Sylvia's one of our senior loan officers. We have Sandra back there. So over there, so I'm gonna be working with the mortgage department, mainly of how we can be a better service to the realtors, how we can showcase or highlight our mortgage products so that there's no question about what we offer here at Remax Mortgage. Getting creative, how we can get those not so easy loans. Everybody can underwrite a 30-year fixed, slam dunk, 800 FICO score. But where the real work comes is getting creative and thinking outside the box. Like, what can we do for these buyers that are like right there? So those are the things that we're gonna look at, and also just working with the loan officers and really marketing and really, expanding. That's basically what we're doing. So it's about retrieving, and I'm gonna use that quote that we did yesterday. It's about retrieving our energy from the places that, we're depleting our energy, and then redirecting it where we feel we can expand. So I welcome all of you to come to me. If there's any products or programs, of course, our loan officers are here, but you'll be seeing me around here. So thank you for allowing me this opportunity, Jennifer. And we're gonna go forward. Thank you.
It's a new year. We're ready, right? It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so.
That's cool.
I know, that was, it's only 70. Honestly, it's only 70. So, if anyone has any other questions, if not, like I said, I highly recommend you get the book, the Audible on Spotify, and you have to be a premium member though, so you have to have a subscription to Spotify.
What's your password?
You know what, the only thing I don't like about that is if you're on a family plan, the family spot, I don't know if anybody has family, it's only lets the actual member, the family doesn't, is it premium? I thought that was kind of dumb, but it is what it is, but, or also go to YouTube. If you don't want to go to Spotify, go to YouTube, John Maxwell, and he has a podcast where he talks about, and I like how he breaks it up so maybe if you're a presenter, go to your section and just listen to what else you can get out of him speaking during that. So, but that's
he's
it.
amazing.
Thank you.
He's amazing.
So thank you guys.
Thank you so much.